Today we are answering the most asked questions about buying a house here in the upstate of South Carolina. From termite inspections to what is radon, and so much more. To help me with that, I've enlisted the top home inspector in the state. Dave Adams owns ProTech Home Inspections and several other businesses, from a pest control company all the way to a chimney company that I'm super excited about. ProTech has been doing home inspections in South Carolina for about 10 years now. They'll probably do about 5,000 home inspections just in the state this year alone. So I would say he knows what he's talking about. Now, I want to throw this caveat out there. You are going to learn so much information in this video, but it does not make you a home inspector or a real estate agent. So if you are looking to buy a house or sell a house here in the upstate South Carolina, it is so important for you to reach out to us. There should be a QR code somewhere here on the screen. Reach out. Let us help you do this really, really well. There are so many moving parts in a real estate transaction. You need us to go through and make sure that you get the best deal possible. Just don't go at this alone. You're not actually going to save any money. When it gets to it, there are so many things that are not covered in this video that a real estate transaction, really, there's things that could be missed. So reach out to us. We would love to help, and we'd love to make sure that we save you money or make you more money. And later in the video, I'm going to give you something that is going to help you along the way as you are purchasing your home here in the upstate. Now, we're going to go through this beautiful listing of mine and poke and prod. And if you like this house, you should reach out to us. Make an offer. We would love to help you. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Hey, how's it going?
How are you today?
Oh, it's hot.
Yes, it is. It is warm.
All right, Dave. Well, this is my friend, Dave Adams, owner of ProTech Home Inspections. So tell our people a little bit about yourself, who you are, and your company.
All right. Well, we've been incredibly blessed. We started March 22nd, 2016 was my first home inspection. And be 10 years this coming March. We'll do about 5,000 home inspections this year. We've got 19 inspectors now.
Wow.
And they all stay pretty busy, and you know, we just try to put the clients first. It's anybody can do a home inspection. It's you know, just kind of the experience that we give and how we go about things, the technology that we use that I think sets us apart, and it's all geared towards making that client an informed buyer.
Got it. Now, Dave, I know you are an incredibly humble man. His company does the most home inspections in the entire state. So I would say your people are pretty experienced and you've seen a few things.
Well, we've seen a few things. You know, I'll tell you that what we do fight is complacency, because you see a lot of problems, the same house after house.
I would love to get into it. There are a few things here that are specific, I think, more to the Southeast. First of them being termites.
Yeah, we get that question a lot, especially from folks moving here.
Yeah. So tell me, like, why does South Carolina have these issues with termites?
It's basically just the geography, the soil composition. We
Hot
have,
and humid.
yes, and they're drawn to moisture. And when we start talking about this, you'll see one of the very first things we do is we start considering moisture, because whether it's termites or the home itself, moisture is always the biggest enemy of your home.
Okay.
When we pull up to a house, normally we're there about 15 minutes or so before anybody else.
Okay.
So we're sitting in the truck and we're beginning already to assess the house. And the first thing that we're doing is looking at the home itself. We can see the shingles, we can see the gutters, we can see the exterior cladding, looking at the roof lines, how's the storm water managed. So when we talk about termites, termites are blind.
Oh.
They're drawn to moisture.
Okay.
And the reason they have tubes, and the reason you find tubes in the house, is that encapsulates them and keeps them moist. So they build those as they go. So we want to see, when we first pull up, especially this is a slab home, how's the stormwater runoff? Over here on the left side, you've got good water running down, but we also have a topography here that the right side slopes down towards the house.
Okay.
So we want to look at how is that stormwater managed? Big question buyers ask. Well, there's a heavy rain and there's water standing. Rule of thumb is if it stands for more than 48 hours, it should be addressed. If it doesn't stand 48 hours, and you know, sometimes we get, you mentioned humidity, sometimes we get those tropical rains where
Right. Every afternoon for like 4 weeks in a row, we get torrential downpours.
the ground's like a sponge, you know, it can only absorb it so fast. So look at that. So when we're walking up to the house, that grade, that topography, what does it look like? And you know, we're also getting an idea too of how well the house is maintained. So we're gathering kind of intel, if you will, on what the homeowner's position was. A lot of people don't think about this, but whether you have a slab or a crawl space, most of your moisture problems don't begin on the ground. They start on the roof. How's that rainwater come down? So here we have a transition from a fiber cement board to a brick. So we got flashing here. Is that flashing sealed? It is. If it's not, then you have to think about is moisture getting behind that. Termites will bring or will come to that moisture because that's what they're looking for. If you were to take this whole house and pick this house up, under it, what you would find is a big muddy blob mess.
Yes.
So that's where the termites are going to originate. So here you see this homeowner has termite bait stations. I'm not a big fan of bait stations. They're more expensive than a liquid treatment. But what happens if the termites come up between the house and the bait station?
Oh.
Which way do they go? The theory is they'll go to the bait station. But I can tell you there's a lot of times when we find active termites, there's a bait station the proper distance away from the home, and the termite tube is still going up the slab.
No way.
So we prefer liquid treatments. We use a product called Termidor, and it's HE, and the reason we like that, it's 4 times as expensive as the others, but the efficacy rate of it is 98%. And what that means is in 10 years, it's still 98% effective. A lot of folks locally use a product called Taurus, which is a termiticide, but over half of that effectiveness is gone in the first 12 months. And we still charge roughly what they do. We don't have to make money off one person. We want to make a little bit off everybody. You know what I mean? So, and then you can get a bond, and look, in South Carolina, you need a termite bond.
You hear that? You need a termite bond. So tell us about a termite bond.
So if the house is not under bond, you have to get a treatment. And then annually, you pay $250 or so. You can get there's 2 types of bonds you can do. A lot of companies have only gone to retreat bonds, which means that only covers the retreatment. If they do any damage, it won't repair the damage. We do retreat bonds, and then we also do repair bonds. And that repair bond would fix that damage. Theoretically though, we're going to be coming out every year and renewing that bond when you pay that fee. If there is termites, we're going to retreat. If there's a repair needed, which most likely there won't be. Why? Because it's only been 12 months since we've been there. So, but the homeowner does have some things that they need to consider too. You know, keep trash and debris away from the side of your house. If it's a crawl space.
Don't stack up wood or anything like that.
If it's a crawl space, keeping the moisture within good limits.
Good limits for moisture levels are under 20%?
Clemson defines it as anything under 20%.
Okay.
You'll see about every CO 100 report and home inspection report in South Carolina is probably going to say something about fungi. That goes back to the humid area. If it's non-active fungi, it's still fungi. It's just not currently growing. According to Clemson, non-active fungi is 20% to 28. Anything over 28 is active fungi, and that's wood destroying fungi. It literally eats the wood away. Most commonly, that is found during this time of the year because it is
Hot
so
and
humid. Says 22 to 23%. If we had inspected that house in January, it probably would have been around 7 or 18.
So let's say summertime, it's like 22, 23%. What are we doing for that?
Well, you're going to have a summer next year too, so it needs to be addressed. And more than likely, your lender is not going to fund that loan because it's based on what it is right then. But long term, your home's a long-term investment, right? Long term, it needs treatment.
So get it done.
Yeah.
Got it. And there's all sorts of different things we can do to mediate the moisture in a crawl space. So
A lot of folks want to just give you, $3,000 or $4,000 quote for a dehumidifier. A dehumidifier may be needed, but there's other ways around that. How many quotes do you get where they just automatically go to an encapsulation? $15,000 to $25,000 to encapsulate a house. With a moisture level of 22%, it's not needed, and it's actually going to hide and cover defects long term.
okay, so that's termites, and what we're dealing with here. Should we take a walk inside and kind of talk about maybe what's inside the garage?
I think so. It's hot, even in the shade.
We absolutely need to walk inside and look at the garage because on slabs,
Yes.
that's one of the first places we commonly see termites.
Oh, let's go. All right, so you said if termites are going to be found, they're going to be found here in the garage.
Well, not entirely what I said,
Okay.
but it's very common to find them there. And here's why, and we can look at this wall. So the garage is typically someone's storage area, right?
Right.
So they can come up through the slab in these seams. These are called expansion joints for the concrete to move.
Okay.
But typically the garage floor is poured after the slab for the house.
Okay.
So there are seams around the slab for the house. That's where the termites will come up and you'll see the mud tubes, and most homeowners don't see them because unlike this home, which is very well organized, most garages are a clutter space. They're kind of like the junk drawer everybody has.
So they come up through the seams, but then this homeowner is really organized.
Well, remember I told you up under the home is a big muddy mess.
Right.
So makes sense. They're finding the moisture, then they come up through those seams.
Got it.
You'll also sometimes see them, and we have no way of knowing this, but you'll see them come up through cracks in the slab sometimes that are covered by a floor covering. We can't see that. And if we don't see it, we can't report on it.
Right.
So that's very, very important for a home buyer to make that distinction. Let me show you a couple other things in the garage we look at while we're here. Is that all right?
Sure, let's do it.
So, obviously an electrical panel. When we first come in the house, we're going to turn every light on.
Okay.
And we're going to run all the appliances. We want to heat this panel up. We want to see if there's any hot spots because we will literally take the cover off of it. We're going to test GFCIs, AFCIs. AFCIs are important. If house is built 2015 or later, you're going to have these little breakers.
Okay.
The white ones are AFCIs. So how many times have you been in a bathroom, you're using your curling iron or your curling iron's heating up and you blow dry on your hair and the lights go out?
Right.
That's the GFCI, which is these purples.
Okay.
Everybody's familiar with that, but they no longer in newer homes reset in the bathroom, they reset at the electrical panel. Here, the AFCIs are basically every other livable area of the house that doesn't have water. And I will guarantee you that when you're watching something on TV that you've been waiting for, and a storm comes, that's when these AFCIs are going
Of course.
We try to tell people, look, everything's resetting in your electrical panel in the garage because they freak out, Super Bowl or,
be okay.
or whatever's on, and they don't remember us telling them that.
Got it.
And then of course, in this house, we have a tankless water heater. So we're looking at those things, the safety aspects. Is there gas shut off? Is the gas line properly sized? And then you also have,
Water shut off.
make sure homeowners know this. Where's my water shut off? Because if you have a leak in the house, this is the way to stop water to the entire house. And then this is the pressure regulator. So newer homes have PEX plumbing, which should not have water pressure greater than 80 PSI. It'll actually blow the crimps that they use to put the pipes together.
Okay.
So that's how you can adjust it.
All right, I am so happy to be inside because of the AC. And also, I can't wait to show you this house. I've been dying to show you this house. Okay, bathroom right over here. And then we've got full bedroom on the first floor, but this is not the owner's suite. So Dave, what are we looking for? What are we looking at in here?
Well, the first thing when we walk in a room is we're just kind of observing, right? And we're creatures of habit. I'm always going to go to the right. I'm going to walk the right walls until I walk myself right back out. In a slab home or in any home, really, one thing that we always make sure we do is open windows.
Okay.
A couple of reasons. One, and let's set some disclaimers. We're not going to open every window.
Got it.
Representative sample. But there will be at least one in every room that we open. And then if we find a problem, we'll start checking more.
Got it.
So why do we open windows? Bedrooms especially, because it's a form of egress. Second floor, if there's a fire and the stairs on the other side of the fire, I promise you a broken leg's better than the alternative.
Got it.
Secondly, the first place you're going to find settlement or structural issues. And structural issues are always a buyer's major concern.
Very true.
So do the windows and doors operate correctly?
Okay.
So we'll open that window, then we'll go over here to this door.
Okay.
And we're looking at different planes of the home. What do I mean by planes? So if I found a problem right here and this door didn't shut, I need to understand, is it as simple as hinges or adjustment?
Okay.
Or do I need to look on a different plane of the house? And just outside this door, I have the bathroom door, which goes perpendicular.
Okay.
I can then open that door and I can start assessing if there's problems. Is this something I need to be concerned about throughout the rest of the house? Because these may just be puzzles of something bigger.
Got it. So just a piece of the puzzle. We're headed upstairs, but my favorite part's behind Michael. Don't run into the chairs. But let's go on upstairs. Come on, Dave. All right, so by the way, this house has 5 bedrooms, 4 that are upstairs, 1 that's down, and it's just over 3,000 square feet. It's a huge house for a great price, which you're gonna have to stick with me towards the end of the video. You know that's how it works. Also, if you are looking at this house throughout the next couple minutes, you're like, this is perfect. You should reach out to the team because it's for sale and we would love to help you buy this house. So
Isn't this your listing?
maybe, and it's gorgeous. So anyways, all right, let's go back to it. So Dave, I have a silly question, or at least it feels silly to me. So let's say we've got this projector up here. Will home inspector turn that on?
Yeah.
No? Why?
It's not a permanent fixture in the home.
Okay.
I would suspect if it's being left,
Okay.
that's in the MLS
Okay. Or negotiated.
or negotiated. But that, we don't even have to turn on appliances if you want to be honest about it,
Really?
in our standards of practice. So we would not do that.
Okay.
And our standard practice is we do not touch people's personal belongings, and that's exactly what that
That's
is.
what that is. So you don't necessarily have to prove that an appliance is working. So like if they're leaving the washer and dryer over here, you're not going to make sure it works.
We are.
Yeah?
Other inspectors won't. So why are we going to do it? Well, if there are personal belongings in them, we will not test it, and we will note that on the report that it was not tested for that reason.
If you're a home seller, that's really good to know. Empty your washer and dryer before your home inspection.
So it allows us to test that 240 outlet.
Okay.
We don't test 240 outlets, but if we turn this on and it works, pretty safe to assume
It works. Okay.
It also allows us to heat up the air, and we do thermal imaging to ensure that the air from the dryer is going up the ductwork. It's not a hole or damaged ductwork, which happens during construction.
It does.
And that we take a picture of the exterior vent with a thermal camera to prove that this air starts here and goes all the way outside the home. Because if you want a mold problem,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want a mold problem, and nobody's supposed to say that word in real estate, right?
Oh, it's a bad word.
But if it's damaged behind that wall, it'll happen quick. We will absolutely turn the washer on.
Okay.
We're not going to run it through all cycles. We're not going to run hot water, cold water. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to make sure it turns on.
Okay.
And the key thing is serves its intended purpose, which for us turns on. But don't we need to know if that drain works?
Yeah.
So let's say they leave these here.
Which is about, I think, almost 50-50 in South Carolina real estate transactions.
A lot of home inspectors are afraid to turn these on because what if it backs up?
Yeah.
Well, if it backs up, I just found a problem.
Yes, you
It's not my problem to fix. I'm not responsible for anything that happens.
Okay.
I'm testing it for its intended function. It is intended to properly drain right there.
Right.
So we will turn them on and test it for that reason. Same thing with kitchen appliances.
Okay.
We'll turn the dishwasher on. I can't guarantee it does anything but turn on.
Oh, I've seen dishwashers leak because they're not installed correctly or do the wiggle wobble because they're not put in right. So, okay, so just to show other things, like this is the primary bedroom upstairs, the owner's bath over here. I love this house because they've done all of the light fixtures and so
Yeah, I
on.
was noticing there's really not a thing in here they haven't touched. Every light fixture
It's beautiful.
has been changed, even the shower heads.
Yeah.
They've got custom shower heads on everything, so you can tell that
So
they're
it's definitely
fairly
not builder
particular.
grade.
Dave, let me tell you something about shower heads. I have discovered a phenomenon. You know, being in my 20s and a renter, I've had roommates, and I've had multiple roommates now that have brought their own shower head and installed it in the rental and then taken it with them when they left. I had never thought about this, but the fact that it's happened multiple times, people love their shower heads.
This is true. Also, we have to do the test. Let's see here. I think it's tall enough for you.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Well, and Aubree, let me point out something else to you. So some of the things that we're going to do when we check this is we're going to turn it on, right?
Right.
And we're not going to run it like you're taking a regular shower. We're turning it on, making sure it serves its intended purpose. But we're looking at the shower head. We're going to, look, that's nice and firm. You don't want that loose. And we're looking at the caulking. So if you're selling a home, go ahead and help yourself and caulk everything so that it doesn't show up on the report. And then I'll tell you, if you look right down there, and you may not be able to see it, but on both ends, there's like a little spot behind the...
Yeah, I've noticed that.
I've seen home inspectors tell you to seal that up, that the caulking's missing. So listen to it drain. We're making sure it drains, but if there's ever a backup, that is actually an overflow. There's a liner on the floor, and it'll run down into the center part and get rid of that water.
Okay.
So if someone tells you to caulk that, or if you as a homeowner don't like it and think water's gonna leak, you're gonna cause yourself a bigger problem by sealing it up.
Wow, that's really good to know. All right, I gotta look real fast.
Oh, this closet.
There's enough room for shoes.
Bigger than it appears from the outside.
Yep,
Yeah, you're saying there is enough room for your
there
shoes?
is. I think I'd be able to put my shoes like right here, but all of her shoes are down here. All right, Dave, what are we doing out here?
You notice anything different?
Hot and cold.
Yep, it's actually hot and cold. We do that on purpose.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we have the right type of water so that we know it's not plumbed incorrectly. And we step back, we take our picture, and then when you get that crazy client that says, you didn't test the hot water. Well, I have a thermal camera image at the kitchen sink showing what the water temperature is, but hidden in our reports is that. What is that about? That's about protecting you. That's about taking care of the real estate agent. And then we're always, of course, going to look under it too. We've ran it, do we see any leaks? Is the P-trap there and proper?
Is it done correctly?
Yep. And then again, checking the caulking.
That comes up everywhere. I think I just need to make it a closing gift at this point.
So toilets, we're going to put our leg against them, see if it moves. Very, very common to find loose toilets.
Right.
And typically that results in damage to the subfloor.
Okay.
Intended purpose, it flushes.
It does its job.
Yep.
All right, let's keep on going. All right, so I know we're not saying a ton about the house, but if you are watching this video and you love this house and you're like, Aubree, I think this is in a great location. It's got everything we need. I think I want to buy it. You should scan the QR code here on the screen, reach out to the team, because we would love to help you buy this house. It's one of our listings. I'm gonna have you talk to Christy. She's awesome. And yeah, so you should do that. Stick around, because towards the end of the video, we are going to give you a list that helps you whenever you are purchasing or selling your home here in the upstate. The things that you need to be looking out for in inspections or being able to sell or buy really, really well. So scan the QR code and ask for the inspection list, because we would love to send it to you. It's free. And then finally, I guess you're gonna have to stick around, because I wanna tell you the price of this house. It is so much value for what you can get here. And this house is only like 1 year old, and everything has been touched inside. It is so much more than you would get in any of the homes built around here for brand new.
Also, we're probably gonna touch on this later, but like construction happening, Publix, all the
Restaurants.
things.
I've heard that there's a really good pizza shop over there.
We should go try it for lunch.
We should.
One other thing we look at that's very important, bedroom. Does every bedroom have a smoke detector? Some of these also have integrated carbon monoxide detectors.
Yes.
But if we go right around this wall,
Okay.
then we have another one right there. So why is there another one right there? You're required to have a smoke detector or CO detector if you have a gas appliance, which we have a gas fireplace downstairs, so there's a gas appliance.
Right.
One on each level, and then a smoke detector in every bedroom. Big safety things that are important. These are hardwired in. We won't test them if they're hardwired in, because if they're on an alarm system, then we get a bunch of pretty red trucks show up.
The big red traffic cones show up real fast. The attic access here, and Dave, I think you agree with me. As a homeowner, you get to go up in the attic when you own the house. So y'all go up there, you look at everything, make sure it's good to go.
We do, and that's purely a safety and insurance thing. Look, you know, if we're doing a home inspection, you don't own the home yet. And if it's a young lady buying the house and her dad shows up, you know, dad wants to take care of his daughter, so he'll want to go up there. We will not let them go in crawl spaces, attics, or on the roof. If they want to do that, they can set a time with you, their real estate agent, to come back. You can let them in and they can do it. But when we pop the lockbox on this house, we're responsible for it.
You're responsible, and I'm responsible whenever you come with me. There's 3 more bedrooms. This one has its own bathroom. Then you have linen closets, the hall bathroom, and 2 more bedrooms down this way, which the owners of this home have a home office here in one of these bedrooms, because I know a lot of you work from home these days. So this house has ample space for you to have guest bedrooms, home office, even the home theater that's here.
This house is sneaky big.
It is very large. So the living room, kitchen areas are my favorites, because that's where we get to have our friends over, family, everything. But specifically, and this is what I geeked out about earlier, the fireplace. Now, fireplaces in South Carolina are different. Like, you've got some actually are wood burning, but you have a lot of these types of gas fireplaces. And a lot of times, up until here recently, I would put in my listings, fireplace sold as is, basically because 1, it was really hard to get them inspected, and then 2, there was nobody who actually had the time to sweep them, fix them, or do anything about a fireplace. But you changed that.
Well, I don't know that I changed it. I just saw a need.
You made it better, because it would be, I would call the 2 chimney companies that were in the area, and they would be backed up probably anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, if not more.
Yeah, and right now the other guys are 3 to 5 months out. Well, you would think this is pretty simple, right? But it's not. So first of all, if it's a vent-free fireplace, we will do everything we can not to sell a vent-free fireplace. It's not that they're unsafe, okay? But they just don't heat the room evenly. They're not very efficient.
Well, here in South Carolina too, like we get what, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks where it is cold enough to where maybe this would actually heat. If anything, I feel like it's more for ambiance, and so
I think a lot of people use them as a supplemental heat.
Okay.
because it's less expensive than electricity, we typically use heat pumps.
Okay.
Because we're not up north, we don't have that staggering cold where you have to have coal, oil, or gas. This particular one, and in any new construction, the people installing these things, they're not fireplace people either. You would be absolutely amazed how many new construction homes we do that when we run the camera up the flue, and it's a metal flue, the seams are damaged or not even connected.
Okay, y'all.
Almost
so,
in
you hear this?
80% of new homes, we find that.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
So if that's the case, where's all that carbon monoxide and combustion gas going?
In here.
Actually,
Upstairs?
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
one way or
hot air
another, it's coming
rises, right?
inside.
But it's coming
Yeah.
inside your house.
So you're
And
poisoning yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
and carbon monoxide is heavier than regular air, right? So it may come out up there,
It's coming down.
but it will come down here.
Hear you loud and clear. What is there anything else we need to know about the fireplaces here versus like outside of the state?
The most common question we get asked is, why are things in South Carolina built so poorly?
Okay.
And a lot of that is because we have a lot of people coming from the Northeast. Well, Northeast construction is much older than Southeast construction. The materials were different. The insulation was different because of the actual environment. It's not that things are built crappy here.
Okay.
It's that things are built for here.
Oh.
And then you have the West Coast, which you know tends to be a little uptight. All the requirements there are different than here. So it's not that things are built poorly. They're probably built poorly based upon your experience. But even the new stuff being built there now is not using true dimensional lumber. It's, you know, construction methods have changed.
Yeah.
And we don't require a lot of the things here in the South that they do in the Northeast, or even the West Coast. The West Coast, you know, like that water heater we saw out there, if you had a normal tank, it would be strapped to the wall if you were in California because they have earthquakes. Our seismic region doesn't dictate that type of construction. You know, and even houses here at the coast are built differently because of wind loads and hurricanes. Yep. So you'll see the walls fastened to the slab differently. You'll see the roof trusses fastened differently. As far as severe weather goes, we're in a fairly benign area. We don't
Except
have,
for September of last year.
fair enough, once in 100 or once in 1,000 years. they
Once
say.
in 1,000 years. All right, we've got one more thing that I want to talk about specifically. Let's turn off this fireplace. Finally, we do life in a kitchen, and this is nice and open, and I think this is perfect for friends, family, parties, so on. But I have one thing that I know that we test for here that I don't hear about as much in other parts of the country.
Okay.
Radon.
So the upstate is in one of the highest areas of concentration of radon in the country.
Now, what is radon for those that don't know what it is?
So radon is a colorless, odorless gas. It is the second leading cause of death from lung cancer behind only smoking. So when you hear that, it sounds outrageously scary.
It does.
We're in an area of high concentration. Where does it come from? Radon is a decay product of uranium. You have the uranium down in the ground as it decays, because everything is constantly decaying, right? That gas rises up through the soil and it will enter your home. Now the EPA has said once you get to a level of 4.0, that should be remediated. They start recommending at 2.0 that you do something, but in terms of a real estate transaction,
Okay.
4.0, as you know, is that magic number.
Right.
And the worst possible thing that can happen is a 3.9.
Yep.
How prevalent is radon here? Greenville County requires a passive system be installed in the home. On a slab house like this, it's basically a 4-inch PVC pipe that goes below the slab. It has a T on the bottom of it, and the pressure under the house, remember where we started, it's wet, so it's a lower pressure.
Right.
It's warm on top of the house.
Right.
So in theory, the warm pressure at the top pulls the cool air up,
Okay.
just like attic ventilation. and it helps get that radon gas out from under the slab. If it's in a crawl space, then it goes up under the vapor barrier, same configuration, and it has to go through the roof.
Yeah.
And there also has to be a outlet within like 4 to 6 feet. And that's so if you need to come back later and put in a vent fan, you can do so. And
Make it an active system.
Yep.
Then you can do that.
Yep. It's not something to be afraid of, it's just something to be aware of. Years ago, an inspector and I did 2 houses side by side. They were both new construction. The machine sat there for 2 days, literally within 100 feet of each other.
Okay.
One house was 0.9, the other house was 18.2. So there's no rhyme or reason. You'll go through periods where up towards the mountains, it's high, and then all of a sudden you'll find hot spots in Simpsonville and Fountain Inn, which the furthest area of the county away from the mountains. Recommend any real estate transaction that you do that, if nothing else for peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people all the time that, look, if there's problems found with the house that are beyond your comfort level
Don't buy the
or your
house.
tolerance, a home inspection is the best money you'll ever waste.
Agreed.
And you know, they look at it as wasting the money, but they truly didn't. They bought information. And if you're not comfortable with the things wrong with that house, then you saved yourself a lot.
Well, Dave, thank you so much. You've given us
thank
a
you.
lot of information. And here's the deal. So if this video has been helpful, if you're like, wow, this is a ton of information, I want you to scan the QR code that's out here on the screen, because 1, if you love the house, you should buy it. And then 2, we actually have a list of common things that we see on home inspections, but then also maybe some not so common things, like making sure you get your radon test done, a chimney inspection, making sure that, you know, if you have questions, you have an expert that you can reach out to, his people, his company, and they know what they're talking about. And if they don't know, they definitely know who they can go to find out. And it gives me a peace of mind, it gives our people a peace of mind, and that's why we're here. That's what we're doing.
Wait.
Oh,
You're not
wait.
getting off this easy.
Ah,
I
Michael,
love this
what?
house, and I need to know how much it is.
How much do you think this house is, Dave? I haven't told you.
Well,
Yes.
and I am not an appraiser. I'm pretty doggone good at staying in my lane.
Man. Okay.
If I had to guess, $350.
Oh no! This house is listed for $465,000.
I inspect homes, I don't sell them. So I think the average sales price is like $389, $390, something like that now.
It is not bad for a over 3,000 square foot.
Well, and it's in one of the more popular areas of the county. It's in some of the better schools. They're building the Publix right here, so
and
you've
the
got the
Publix
little
is-
town center concept.
Literally walking distance.
Walking distance from this house. Also, I've had a lot of people here recently very interested in Mauldin, and this house, even though it has a Greenville address, is only like 9-10 minutes from the Mauldin city center areas. And actually, the next video that you should go watch is like right here somewhere on the screen. And go watch it. Let me know what you think. Talk to you later.